Um, I sat across from them, so beautiful, so cute, totally innocent, small feet, small mouths, soft texture, unique colors, funny sounds, a life of service. I would go out there and sit with them, watch them. About a dozen of them. They looked to be mindlessly walking. Something meditative about it. A simple life. Eating, sleeping, relaxing, communal. Something humans wish they were. Chickens. It was out on the farm I was working at. Then one fateful day, the sun is shining, streaks of light through the trees. We're called to gather around. I need to see a show of hands, okay? Who wants to slaughter the chickens? There are two of them. You? You? Okay. Listen, I know we never do this. I know we only use the chickens for eggs, but they're sick. Diarrhea, vomiting, flu. If we don't slaughter these two, they could get the rest of the coop sick, and we don't want that. So tomorrow we'll do it. We will not be breaking their necks. Okay, we will be slitting their throats. Okay, big knife, sharp, one cut, the blood drains out, the life drains out. Then I'll show you how to clean them up and we can eat them. Yes, even though they're sick, we can eat them. Okay, we really just don't want all of the other chickens to get sick, so we must do this. Now, I've done this more times than I can count, and I don't particularly like doing it anymore. So if anyone wants to have the learning experience, it's all yours. Okay? So you've all raised your hands and to slaughter them, but there are only two sick chickens, so we'll have to decide who will do it tomorrow. Except you. You don't want to slaughter them? Okay, that's fine. It's no problem. I don't either. So, tomorrow, all right? Early. So the person that was just speaking was the old farmer. And the person that he called out that didn't want to slaughter the chickens was me. We had goats for cheese and ducks for eggs and chickens for eggs, but we never ate them. We only ate the vegetables and the berries and whatnot. I also developed a simple but powerful bond with my chicken friends, so this was new territory. The homestead was made up of really young farmers from a program called WOOF, Worldwide Opportunities on Organic Farms. We were in southern Oregon on one of the most beautiful plots of land I had ever seen. Giant fir trees, crystal clear creeks, endless starry skies. So after a night's rest, we woke up the next morning to slaughter the chickens. Like I said, I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do it because I just didn't. I didn't want to kill. I had actually been vegan and vegetarian before in my life, and I wasn't at the time. But I've always had this kind of sixth sense with animals. An empathy, a compassion, a wonder, a strange love. So I showed up outside by the blueberry bushes and I just watched. The old farmer held up the two sick chickens, and stood there with a giant glinting blade and a big tree stump at his feet. So which one of you wants to do it? He looked around at all the faces of the young people who raised their hands to slaughter them the day before. But something happened. A silence. Nobody stepped up. It was odd. We all waited. But suddenly nobody wanted to kill the chickens. The old man kind of grimaced, confused. He shook his head. So none of you want to do the honors? I guess everybody had changed their minds. Push came to shove. Killing was easier to think about than to actually do. Listen, I said I don't really want to do this anymore, the old farmer sighed. But there was no movement from the young farmers. So he proceeded to hand one of the chickens to someone. Meanwhile, he took the other chicken and held it upside down, and he ran the blade across its neck. Everyone watched. There was a dull sound, then a flailing, then a long stream of blood pouring into a pan that was set on the big tree stump. The old man held the flailing chicken until soon enough it stopped moving. He placed the dead chicken up on a rope that was hanging on a nearby mulberry tree. He held up the bloody blade. Does anybody want to do the second one? No? There's a silence. No, nobody. Now, I found this really interesting, profound, startling. How everyone the day before seemed so ready and almost excited to slaughter the chickens, but when the blade was offered to them and the chicken looked them in the eyes, they changed their minds. The old man proceeded to the second chicken, same thing. Dull noise across the feathers, flailing, tiny sounds, then a long stream of blood, then quiet. The old man sighed again. He didn't want to do this anymore. But after a moment, we all walked away. How did this happen, I thought. I felt like something deeper had just occurred. A deeper philosophy, a sign of disconnection. And although we were all out on a farm, most of us had come from metropolitan cities. All the young farmers either lived in Portland or Los Angeles or San Francisco or Brooklyn. And those are cities where you don't see any of this happen. Those are cities where you don't see this particular blood being spilled. So I went back to my tent and sat with the flap open and I looked out onto the grass. I thought about this world we live in. The world I had escaped just for a month or so to have this experience on this farm. This world full of social media, which, although it's made to connect people, can be very disconnecting. I started thinking of something I've seen a lot on social media. Mukbangs. Mukbangs are those really grotesque and disgusting videos of people eating. Those same videos that get millions of views and thousands of likes. The camera is set up in a close-up selfie and you proceed to watch someone eat a bowl of crabs or fried chicken or ribeye steak or shrimp scampi. Mukbangs are vile, but I always do wonder, why do we seem to like watching other people eat on film so much? And most importantly, as it pertains to the chicken slaughter, the seeming lack of recognition of where the things they're eating came from. Mukbangs, to me, are one of the lowest forms of humanity. To me, they equal a kind of disgusting and hideous aspect of humans, this base gluttony, this empathic amnesia, where I think humans should actually all be destroyed. Because in the mukbang, you forget about the farm. You forget about how the chickens were slaughtered, or how the crabs or lobsters were boiled alive, or how the cows were ushered into steel compartments and shot in the head, or how the shrimp were electrocuted to death. The list goes on. Now, I eat meat, and in a real way, I hope there's a day where I don't. And I'm not trying to make everyone that eats meat feel like shit. It's just that that day when I saw the chicken's eyes and the innocent hypocrisy of the other farmers who raised their hands, I couldn't look at it all the same way. So I sat in my tent and I thought of something else. Mukbang, bang, childhood, innocence, bang, bombs. When I was a kid, like elementary school, maybe 13 years old, I was asked to write a paper for history class. I needed to answer the question, would I or would I not drop a bomb on Nagasaki? I have no idea why 13-year-olds were being asked this question, but we were. Nagasaki is a city in Japan that on August 9th, 1945, had an atomic bomb dropped on it by the US in World War II, resulting in around 80,000 deaths. So I remember I sat there writing my paper. Would I drop it? Would I not drop it? I have no idea why, but I so ineloquently wrote in that paper that I would drop the bomb. I vaguely remember my teacher being repulsed by my answer, but I didn't know why I really even answered that way. And as I sat there on the grass after the slaughtering of the chickens and seeing them being harvested just across the way, their feathers plucked on a big wooden table next to the drying garlic, I had this flashback to when I had to write that paper about dropping an atomic bomb on innocent people, mingling with this present moment of slaughtering the chickens. When I wrote that paper and I said I would drop the bomb, I was just like the young farmers that wanted to slaughter the chickens initially and then didn't. Because now if you ask me if I would drop a bomb on Nagasaki, I would say, fuck no. Was it age? Wisdom? Push coming to shove, rubber meeting the road. Pushing a button or moving a blade across a creature's neck is harder to do when you really have to do it. The chicken slaughter, the mukbangs, the nuclear bombs. There's this thread of ignorance. Men and women sitting around a table drinking martinis and smoking cigarettes, wondering whether or not it's a good idea to obliterate thousands of people. Young girls and boys being asked to cut the throats of sick chickens. Idiots on Instagram eating animals on camera like psychotic sadists for likes and views. Some bliss born out of not recognizing repercussions. Something about being separate. Or maybe it's about obliterating something and in the process obliterating ourselves. Finally, some peace and quiet. Peace and quiet born out of some strange excess and death. We pushed the button, we cut the throat, we ate the thing, finally. Satisfaction, freedom, peace, quiet. We did something. We wanted it to end. But that's a question I ask a lot. Will it ever end? Come to a stop? The closest thing to a stop I've ever felt was COVID, but that was short-lived. But I'm talking about a real stop. Whisper quiet into the forest where you think your ears are ringing, just finally getting off the ride, going home, wherever home is. No more killing, no more mukbangs, no more bombs. I mean, I really hope so. I really, really hope so.